have the results of the voting on the amendment. There were 100 and, I'm sorry, I'm going to do the adding in my brain, 159 votes cast. 18 were cast in favor of the amendment. 141 were cast in opposition to the amendment. The amendment is defeated. Is there any more discussion on Article 2 before we move on to Article 3? Yes, sir.
Joe Warnig, Gary Circle. I move to restrict reconsideration on Article 2, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Do you want to explain what you're asking for?
I just don't want to vote on it.
Or would you like me to do that?
You can. You'll do it, Joe.
Gordon, you want to explain that? Or let me see the other side.
I'll be happy to.
Okay, go
I'd
ahead.
like to. The only thing is, if you'd like to see it, already, it might have been.
Yeah, let me just be clear. If there's no further discussion on Article 2, then we're going to move on to Article 3, and Article 2 then becomes on the ballot as it is written and proposed. So after my making that statement, then the motion that's been made to restrict now becomes appropriate. Do you want to? Why don't you do it again?
I move to restrict reconsideration on Article 2.
Very good, sir. And we have a second? And Mr. Graham is going to help us all understand exactly what that motion means.
If a motion to restrict reconsideration is passed at the Senate Bill 2 meeting, which this is, then the vote to restrict reconsideration shall be deemed to prohibit any further action on the article until the second session of the meeting, which is when you vote on it by official ballot. So it cuts off any further action with respect to the budget at this meeting, and it would go on the ballot, and you could not at a later time amend or change the operating budget. Article 2.
Very good, thank you. Is there any discussion that anybody wants to have on the motion to restrict? Then I'm going to call for a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to restrict, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Nay. The ayes have it. The motion to restrict passes, and we will finish going onward with Article 3. Article 3 is the collective bargaining agreement article, and it reads as follows. Shall the Guilford School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Guilford School Board and the Guilford Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels. For school year 2012 to 2013, 0 estimated increase. For school year 2013 to 2014, estimated increase of $191,210. And further, to raise and appropriate no additional funds for the upcoming fiscal year, such sum representing the fact that there are no additional costs attributed to salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at the current staffing levels and in the current fiscal year. Do we have a motion from the school board?
Mr. Moderator, I move this article.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Would somebody from the school board care to address this article?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, a collective bargaining agreement negotiated between the Teachers Union and the Guilford School Board represents a 2-year contract agreement. The first year of this contract includes no salary increases for teachers. This is consistent with all the employees in the school district. In the second year of the agreement, the teachers will receive a 1% salary increase plus step. The teachers also agreed to form a health insurance committee to look at alternatives to the current health insurance plan offered by the school district. Both the teachers and the school board acknowledge that something must be done to address the rising cost of health insurance.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the school board that wishes to address the article? Okay, then the floor is open. Anybody care to address Article 3? I'll ask one other time. Does anybody care to address Article 3 or have any questions about Article 3? There being none, we will move on to Article 4. I'm sorry, okay. So Article 3 now is on the ballot, and we're finished with our discussion on that article. Article 4, authorization for special meeting on collective bargaining agreement, warrant article rejected or amended at annual meetings. So shall the school district, if Article 3 is defeated, authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address Article 3 cost items only, and that is if it's defeated on March 13th. Is there a motion from the school board?
Mr. Moderator, I move warrant article 4.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
Yes. This warrant article asks the voters of Guilford to authorize the governing body to call one special meeting to address the cost items in the teacher's contract should the proposed cost items in Article 3 be defeated at the voting session on March 13th.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, the floor is open. Anybody have any comments, questions? One more call for any comments or questions on Article 4. All right, thank you. There being none, the warrant Article 4 is now on the ballot, and we will move on to warrant Article 5 relating to the Guilford Middle School and High School occupancy light sensors. And it reads as follows: shall the school district vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $74,670 for the installation of energy efficient occupancy light sensors at Guilford Middle School and Guilford High School? Is there a motion from the school board?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I move to have Article 5 placed on the warrant of the school district.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion from the school board?
The school board continuously looks at ways to reduce our operating budget. This warrant article focuses on the rising cost of electricity in our two schools. Several years ago, the school district was successful in gaining voter approval to convert the high school from an electrical heating system to a more cost-effective heating system. In the same spirit of trying to reduce our compensation of electricity, the school board is bringing forth this warrant article to gain voter support for the installation of energy-efficient occupancy light sensors in the high school and middle school facility. The system, if approved, will be set up to turn lights off automatically in the school hallways and classrooms when the rooms are not being occupied.
Thank you. Anything else? Very good. The floor is now open for any comments or questions.
Kevin Hayes, 7 Gibbon Drive. Can you tell us what the payback is on this investment?
We estimate the payback at 3.5 to 4 year time period.
Thank you.
Maybe I should explain the budget committee's position. As you see, we did not recommend this. And I guess it's a fairly big vote, 2 to 10. And in general, this is a nice-to-have item. Some of us with experience, well, we appreciate Tim and the work those guys do, but I think most of those calculations will be optimistic, and at a time like this, spending $75,000 for something that probably won't pay back in 4 years, we felt would be better to have people diligently shut the lights off and not put this in.
Thank you, Dick. Sir?
Dave Horvath, 28 Timber Lane. Mr. Hickok summarized a lot of things I was going to say. In the Budget Committee, when this was discussed, when we asked that very same question that Mr. Hayes asked and Mr. Bartlett answered, we did not get a definitive like we heard tonight. It was a very nebulous answer. It depends on this, depends on that, depends on this. I don't think anybody here or on the Budget Committee objects to saving money and energy. In fact, we strenuously push to save pennies everywhere we can. But this now, and as Mr. Hickok had mentioned, we're looking at throwing money at something with a nebulous return. It might be a time to think about that for a better time rather than at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Leandro, 98 Gunstock. This is a big expense. It's a complex problem, a complex solution to a very simple problem. Turn the light switch off. We're supposed to be teaching our kids to be green, sustainability. We hear all these words, but they don't have motion detecting light switches in their home. When they go home, their parents are going to expect them to shut the lights off. Maybe we should set the example with our professional teachers and shut the light off when you leave the classroom.
Thank you. Anybody else? Comments, questions? Thank you. Then warrant Article 5 is on the ballot.
2Vote3.